For people. Affinity Plus is federally insured by the NCUA.
Most companies advertise to generate interest. At Rubicon Mortgage Advisors, they care about your best interest. They help you make life's big moves with the most comprehensive finance solutions that extend far beyond your current needs. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned real estate investor, you can expect unequaled personal service and a lifelong relationship. Visit RubiconMortgageAdvisors.com to learn more about their locally based luxury service experience. That's RubiconMortgageAdvisors.com. Equal opportunity lender and MLS number 275483.
The Cover Your Assets team has their A game, 855-835-8500. It's 855-835-8500 to join us, or CYA21.com. So foreclosure defense, little foreclosure defense today, but a lot of investment. Show me the money. We've got Todd Ricker, Craig Nestor, and Derek Walgrave today. And guys, we kind of started laying the groundwork last segment about who might be thinking that they should invest or who should be investing and they don't know it. Right?
Well, I mean, the opportunity presents itself in an enormous way, provided that you can either get financing or you've got real dollars to buy properties with. That really is the issue at the end of the day, and maybe it's always been that, but it's even more so today in that you have to be able to qualify for the financing as the investor or have real cash to work with. And if you have that, you separate yourself from the herd in a major way. And so when you look at this current economy and all of the bad that's going on, it represents an opportunity of epic proportion if you are in that position to take advantage of the situation. Having said that, when you purchase properties and turn them around, if you're going to do turnovers or you're going to put people in them and keep them for a longer period of time, then obviously it stands to reason that the property has to be positioned properly in the marketplace, but you've also got to have people who are going to qualify for the financing. And, the challenge as I speak with mortgage brokers is that people just simply walk into the bank or walk into the mortgage broker and they dump their stuff on the desk. They don't qualify. And the business of finance is generally, look, if I can't close on this sucker by the end of the month, I got to move on because I got to make a living too. And that's just simply not enough time for a person to position themselves to be able to qualify for financing. A very different contrast with contract for deed, which is oftentimes 2, 3, and as much as 5 years to give an individual consumer an opportunity to position themselves to meet the underwriting guidelines and qualify for financing. So when somebody says, look, I don't want to move into a rental, I don't want to be in an apartment, I want my family to be in a home, and granted, I'm losing the home that I have, and possibly I got myself into more home than I needed, but that doesn't mean I want to move into an apartment complex when I've got 3 kids. So they're looking for someone who will buy them a home or build them a home and then put them in as, in effect, homeowners who will qualify under a contract for deed within 3 years. That group of people who do that will generally bring me in, and my job is now to ensure that between now and the time that the option period becomes available where the homeowner will actually exercise their option to qualify for financing and buy the investor out of the home and take on their own mortgage, my job is to ensure that they have done all the things that they need to do, literally over 2 and 3 years, to be able to qualify for financing and ensure that they can buy that home. And it's not just about the credit score, and it's not just about the fact that I'm 2 years past a short sale or 3 years past a bankruptcy. It's a multitude of things, and it really will almost always come down to they got to learn how to manage their money, generate transparency on paper so the bank feels comfortable, and then rebuild their financial situation. It's no small thing, but it can be done.
Okay, and this is really, really important for people to understand. This is almost a different way of flipping in this new world, Derek. It's like we've got people that maybe have lost their homes and they eventually want to buy. They're not in shape. We have investors that will buy those homes and then work with those new buyers that aren't quite ready to qualify yet, and then eventually sell them the property after certain things have been done. Can you explain it a little better for me?
Well, absolutely. And that's one of the things when buying an investment property, the biggest concern with an investor is, who am I going to put in there? And how quickly can I get that person in there? Because when we do cash flow analysis on a property, and an investment property, single family home, townhome, I mean, that's a big determinant. I mean, if you miss a month worth of income, that changes everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go from a 10%, cash on cash return to a 6% cash on cash return. I mean, it's
kind of like my 401k.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's what's neat about this opportunity for the investors that we work with and the clients that Todd have. I mean, it's all timed. I mean, we know exactly when they need to be in a home. And the investors have got them. They're buying the house essentially with a renter or a contract for deed buyer already attached to it. It's the perfect scenario. And the one thing that we do with our investors when they come in and they look at properties, we run through a cash flow analysis with them. So it's not we don't have them come and go, okay, yeah, we think the value is great. Really, and that's a lot of the pitch in this real estate market is, values are down. This townhome sold for $280,000 in 2006. It sold, you can buy it for $140,000. How can you go wrong? Well, it's a rental property or a cash flow, property. You need to know how it cash flows because that's what it's about. I mean, in the past, I think I know investors were investing in real estate based on their appreciation of what the assumption of that appreciation. And we really, other than certain land plays or buys, you really need to buy your investment properties with the idea that this is going to cash flow for me. And whether the value goes up or down, it's about the cash that it's bringing in and the cash that I invested in that. So, those are things that we go through and we help investors first time or veteran investors. We run through it with them.
So an investor wins in two ways. A, they get a property that cash flows, so they're getting, that every month. But then they know basically they can go into it, as you're describing, with an end game of someone that's actually going to purchase that from them. So explain a little bit more about the money that's made there.
Right. Well, and again, we'll start with the rental side of things.
Okay.
When we set up a cash flow analysis, we're running the numbers on the amount of the cash that's invested versus their returns. Okay. So and we'll run through all the expenses, and we know exactly what the return is, and they often describe it to the stock market. We're invested in the stock market. Well, the one thing about investment property, especially a single family, you have much more control on that, and you know exactly what you're getting into when you get into it. And the thing with the roller coaster ride of the stock market, you're not going to see that in real estate. Yes, values went down, but it was at a consistent basis. But when you have a rental property, you have a control over that income and the cash flow of it. So that's the big part of it.
So give me a couple examples. I see you've got a pile of stuff there. It looks pretty interesting.
Well, I've got examples of everything, but the first one that I was just going over was a townhome example. Yeah. And, it sold in 2006 for $280,000. This investor bought it for $140,000. Okay. Wow. And for rentals of $1,400 a month, they had it already set up. And when you run through the numbers and expenses, they're literally a cash and cash return of 10%. Show me an investment out there right now that is as consistent as that, and they've got control over it. They know where their invested is. It's in that townhome. So that's one example. And we talk about some of the land plays, which is the only thing that I really say in the real estate as far as banking and appreciation. Here's a quick example of an investor that bought 24 townhome lots, finished townhome lots, that the development cost alone to develop those lots were $12,000. They had sold to a builder previously for $36,000 per lot. He bought them for $6,000 per lot. That was basically the bank giving them $6,000. You can't do it. And that was a sit and hold situation. He knows that the townhome market's going to rebound, and he's going to make a killing on it. So there are deals like that. The land deals with appreciation. There's just a ton of opportunity.
And the side about interesting how the decline of real estate valuations is certainly a poignant factor, but the interesting thing is that the fact is rents have not declined hardly at all, if anything, and we are in the top 3 rental markets in the country. So the idea that you're going to be out searching for tenants if you have competitively placed rents is a fallacy. You'll have more people than you know what to do with. That is the reality. So if you want to think back in 2004 and 2005 when you went out looking for homes and the house went on the market, the sign went in the front yard, and on the same day they had 10 offers on the house, picture that same scenario in the rental market. That's what's going on.
You're absolutely right. That is exactly it. You put that rental sign in the as soon as they are able, they have got dozens of calls calling on the rental property. It's amazing.
People know that some of the country's wealthiest individuals and corporations have made huge strides during recessionary-type economies. Real estate as a wealth-building vehicle is back, and with any investment, it's all about entry and exit. It doesn't matter if it's gold or mutual funds or real estate. What are you buying it at? Does it cash flow, and what can you sell it at? And our relationships in the community allow us access to these properties. When you know how to save people's houses, you also know how to buy them.
Ah, yes.
There's the flip side of this training. But It's the entry and the exit. And if you can buy property at 40 cents on today's depressed market value and then put that property into the third tightest market in the country, you are going to cash flow. And here's the cool thing about the exit. We work on the #1 real estate team in the country with 68 websites, 4 radio shows, 100 agents. We have already priced the exit months prior to the purchase. So we know what everything's selling for in that area. We're the lowest price 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,200 square foot house in Apple Valley, right, Derek?
Absolutely. And that's a great point. I mean, the team that we have here set up and taking care of not only the homeowners that need to possibly get into a rental situation, but investors. I mean, it's just the perfect scenario. I mean, it's all set up. It's all laid out. We run through the numbers. We run through the scenarios with the homeowners and the investors of how this is going to lay out. And the important thing is that if there are credit issues, we have Todd that proactive right from the beginning of fixing that credit and getting them in line to be able to buy a house in 2 years. And if they're buying the house that was, it was written on the contract for deed that the investor bought, what better scenario is that?
We've got it. The people who are coming to see me, remember, have not even missed a payment yet. So unlike many of the homes that an investor may walk into having no knowledge of what this is. I mean, look, when people get angry and they go through the entire process of foreclosure and don't succeed, they walk out with the sinks, the toilets, the cabinets on their way out the door, and maybe the copper pipe as well. Well, the investor comes in, they have no clue what they're buying. When you've got a homeowner who has a strategy from the very beginning to get out of that house, there's not the angst and the animosity. They don't destroy the house, and the investor comes in and buys a great house. Then he puts the individual in that home who's not the individual who's been a habitual financial disaster their whole lives, but rather somebody who is going to go into that house who's been solid and stable their entire lives, but because of a particular issue like maybe the downturn of the economy, losing a job, decreasing income, a medical issue as Craig described, that's the only reason they're here, because they're going to get right back to being solid and stable. That's the type of person you want in your investment property, and that's what we've got an abundance of.
And it's a way to partner, really, the investor and the tenant at that point in time. And we've got them from every end of the perspective here at Cover Your Assets, 855-835-8500, 855-835-8500.